So first of all, I tell her that she's enough. You are enough. And that whatever you have in you, God can use it to make something great. Begin with prayer, right? Especially if you're in a tough time or a tough situation and not really sure what path to take or what to do next. Pray about it. Ask God for guidance. Ask God for provision. But then you've got to make a move, right? Like just try something. Take a first step. If it doesn't work, guess what? That's okay. You'll still be all right because God's got you. So a lot of times people wonder what could have happened. What if maybe I should have, maybe I could have, but you'll never know if you don't actually do it. So I always tell people, just start. Start the business, start the podcast, start the blog, right? Start the clothing line, whatever it is that you are thinking about doing, just start. Trust God in the process and see what happens. And if it does not work out, it is okay because you are still enough.
Hello, the New Rich Nation. So good to see you all today. Welcome to another episode of the New Rich Podcast, the number one podcast for entrepreneurs and creators to help you build a successful online business so that you can live the life of your dreams. I'm Dr. Uyi Abraham, the host, and I have my co-host with me today,
Dr. Faith Abraham. Welcome back, New Rich Nation.
Awesome. We have a special guest for you all today. But before we do that, so how was your week?
My week was pretty eventful. The kids and I, we went down for our daughter's volleyball tournament. It's volleyball season. Right. One of my favorite seasons, actually. But it was good. We had a good time. We just stepped out for the weekend and we came back. Were you in Vegas? No, we were not.
Oh, because there was a volleyball tournament in Vegas this weekend.
Really?
Yes, wow. A big one.
No, I didn't even know about that. But I think how they schedule it is, first come, first serve, so you can't pull out and just go to another one. Yeah. But oh no, I think it's, and then also too, they have national, regional, elite. They have their rankings.
Yeah.
But it was really good. And we left you behind. Sorry, love.
Yeah.
We had fun for you though.
Yeah, I got some of the footage and I was busy too. I was working with the clients during the week and it was fun. Okay. And also at the time of this recording, you're about to go on a trip to London. You're going to be speaking.
I'm going to London.
Good. How you feel about that?
I'm excited. I mean, I've never been before. I had to think about it. Yeah. And so I'm ready for the wet weather, the cold weather. We'll take some monumental photos and have some tea.
Awesome.
British tea. I'm working on my accent.
That was good.
Okay. That's it, everybody. So we welcome you again. So we have a special guest. We're really excited to talk to her. We have known her now for maybe 2-3 years now.
Maybe longer.
Or so. Or
longer.
No, it's longer. It's longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's longer.
About 5.
Yeah, I think about 5 years. Yeah, when you did your Sisters in Business Expo, and I don't know if that was how I knew about you or I knew about you through the show on YouTube or something. I'm not sure exactly. There was a show you did on the Entrepreneur Show. You did the Entrepreneur Show on YouTube, right?
On the elevator pitch.
Elevator.
That was after.
That was after.
Yeah. Okay. I think we met at our very first expo. Maybe the second one.
The one in Atlanta.
Well, it's been in Atlanta every year.
Okay.
But 2018 was the first one. 2019 was the second one. It was one of those two.
Yeah, it was either 2018 or 2019. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a great expo, So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
We sorry, y'all. We just, catching up.
Y'all just made privy. We've been in this thing.
Right.
Yeah. Aisha Taylor Issa, right?
Yes, you got it. Hi, everybody.
So that's it. So let's piggyback to tell a little people about you because, we know you're a dope entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You're a woman of God, you're a preacher.
Come on.
And you own a very successful women movement. Mm-hmm. And now you have a retail store in Atlanta and all this great stuff going on. So Tell the people about you and how you got to where you are today.
Yes. Well, first, thank you to the Abrahams. I love the doctors. It's been several years, and you've always been so supportive and great working with you all over the years. So thank you for having me. My name is Aisha Taylor Issa, and I am the founder and CEO of the Sisters in Business Expo. We're the country's only multi-city small business expo and community created to celebrate and educate entrepreneurial women of color. And we started that back in 2018. We do that through a variety of ways, primarily through our large-scale expos and trade shows that we host in several cities across the country. Then also we have our Sisters in Business University, which is the teaching and training arm of the brand.
Awesome. I like that.
Educational resources for the Sisters in Business to help them be successful. We also have the Sisters in Business Foundation. That's our nonprofit entity where we give grants to women of color entrepreneurs, primarily through pitch competitions. And then most recently, the Sister Shop, which is the newest part of our brand, even though it's almost 2 years old now, I can't believe it. And that's our retail and e-commerce destination, where we feature the brands of over 150 women of color entrepreneurs from around the country.
Nice.
We have 2 locations, one in Elizabeth, New Jersey. That one opened in 2021, and the one here in Atlanta at Atlantic Station, which opened in June of last year.
Wow, that's amazing.
She just gave y'all a plethora of hello.
Good. So how did you get into entrepreneurship? How did you start? How did your journey begin?
So the Sisters in Business Expo is not actually my first entrepreneurial endeavor. My sister and I owned a career consulting business for close to 20 years. It was called Tailor Made Career Consulting. And that was really my first entryway into entrepreneurship. I never really thought about being an entrepreneur. You know, we were raised, you go to school, you get a good job, you retire, you like all the things. And so entrepreneurship wasn't something I had really been exposed to much or really interested in. So I always tell people entrepreneurship found me. I didn't find it. God gave me this vision, even back then, to create a platform. I was always good at writing and communication, and so my sister as well. And we would always help people with their resumes, and they kept coming back and sending more people. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, maybe we need to put a price tag on this and turn it into a business. And so that's how that business started, and it really just grew over those years into recruiting and being on national platforms as career experts and things like that. So that was my first entryway into entrepreneurship. During that time, I still had a full-time job. I was still working as well. I had a great career in city government. My professional background is in criminal justice, and I have an MPA, a Master's of Public Administration. So I worked in that arena for close to 15 years as well.
Wow. So your resume is long.
Right. Yes, and I'm a preacher.
Well, hallelujah.
Yes, that's my first calling.
That's the Now you just said something, because I feel like, and I know y'all might not like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I feel like a lot of times what we do is we pigeonhole ourselves, thereby pigeonholing God and saying, well, I have this calling and it's in the church, it's in the ministry. Therefore, you can't be calling me to business. You can't have me doing something else. That's not for me. I'm here and only here. How did you navigate knowing that you're called to preach on that, what we call the mountain of ministry of church, but also the mountain of entrepreneurship? How did that work for you?
Yeah. So I definitely struggled with that initially, because I felt like I had to choose between a career in ministry and a career professionally in other endeavors. And so I prayed about it and kind of asked God for guidance. I actually worked on both master's degrees at the same time. So I worked on my Master's of Divinity and my Master's in Public Administration at the same time. So literally would be going to class on Tuesdays and Thursdays for one, and Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for the other, and did that for many years. One day I just heard God say, you don't have to choose, right? Like you don't have to choose, because in essence, ministry should be everything that we do, because ministry simply means to serve. So whether I'm serving in public government or I'm serving my clients in my business, it's still service.
That's right.
And so it just settled in my spirit that I could do both, and I could be successful at both, and be impactful at both. So that was really, but I did struggle with it at first, because I felt like, why am I being called to both of these things? How can I work in one, fully? And God was like, you don't have to choose. Like, I'm God. Like, I can do all things. So that's where I settled in that.
I love that. So you literally accepted the fact that you could be a multifaceted and multidimensional person.
Absolutely.
Just like God is. And
Absolutely.
Of course, if we're made in his image, then obviously,
yes,
we would be just
we don't
like
serve, God is not in a box, and he doesn't expect us to be either. We use the term a lot, bivocational, and I just had to just settle on the fact I was multivocational.
I like that.
Because it wasn't just working for the city and, doing ministry. I also was growing a business, and looking into other things. So, I just kind of, anytime something comes to me, I'm prayerful about it. And if it's not right in my spirit, then I'm not going to do it. But if it is, then I believe that that's what God has for me to do. And I don't necessarily have to eliminate one thing in order to do another.
What's on your heart today?
Imposter syndrome is killing me right now. My friend told me about Vanza, so I think I can start a business online and it will sell, but...
Okay, slow down. Thanks for sharing that with me. Now tell me, what is this Vanza that you mentioned?
Vanza is an online platform where you can upload online courses, digital and physical products, and basically everything you need to run an online business. Doc, aren't you supposed to be helping me with the whole fear and doubt thing?
Yeah. Sure, we'll get to that. But first, how do I sign up for this Vanza?
Go to Vanza.com, but are you not going to help me?
It looks like that's a good session for today. And
but wait, therapy?
Start your business online. Create online courses, digital products, e-commerce, funnels, and more. Start your 14-day free trial today at Vanza.com.
So let me ask you this. As a woman of color in faith, you're going to school, how are you juggling this? Because I know some of our New Rich Nation is like juggling all these things and like, no, I can't do that. But you obviously found a sweet spot because you're here.
Yeah. So, the short answer is that God will make a way.
Okay.
Right? Like God will make a way. If he gives you an assignment, he will provide everything that you need to complete it. It might not happen when you think it should or how you think it should, but it will happen. Now, I will say I was much younger then, right? Like I'm not as young as I look. So we're talking about, close to 20 years ago when I was juggling both of those degrees and working full time.
Yes.
But I also didn't have a child or a husband, right? So it wasn't easy. I'm not saying it was easy.
Sure.
It was just a different time in my life. That does not mean I couldn't do it now if I had to. Right. There are plenty of people who do it in later seasons. You never know where I might find myself back in somebody's classroom. I ain't looking right now, but so I just believe that whatever assignment God gives us, he will give us what we need in order to complete it, right?
Absolutely.
The biggest hurdle is getting over the fact that you think you can't do it, and then thinking you have to do it by yourself.
Wow, that is so powerful. So now let's kind of go back a little bit, okay? Because you have several businesses and you went through them really, really fast. But I want to kind of take it slowly so that people can kind of glean one or two knowledge or wisdom from them, right? So which one of them is your, I don't want to say your favorite, but which one is your biggest passion? Or which one are you, is that one that you really would love to take to the next level?
So just for clarification, we only have one business, right? But the business has many components to it. So the Sisters in Business Expo is the umbrella brand. And then these different areas fall underneath that. So there's the expo side, which are our live events, our trade shows, as people know them, small business expos that we host in different cities. Then there's the Sisters in Business University. So that's where we do the teaching and training. And then there's our foundation, Sisters in Business Foundation.
Is that a nonprofit?
That is a nonprofit. And that's where we provide grants through various ways, primarily pitch competitions.
To interject
yes, sir.
A little bit. People always talk to me about starting a nonprofit, right? And they're always talking about, can you write grants for me? Or can you show me how to write grants and stuff like that? So can you share with the New Rich Nation on how does that work? Are you able to get these grants to be able to offer to people? And is the process hard? And what kind of grants do you offer to people? What are the qualifications? But let's go back to first. Are you able to get these grants? Because you have to be able to fund it to be able to offer grants to people. So are you able to navigate all that?
So I will tell you, the truth. In a lot of ways, we're still working and developing that. Many of our nonprofit grants are funded by our corporate sponsors and by our for-profit business. So we fund our own grants in a lot of ways.
Wow.
And that's key though, because that's one of the stuff that we tell people too.
Yeah.
That because I don't know, I was raised by my grandma, right? And so I saw her work for everything she got. So I never saw her like wait on somebody to help her before she can do anything. And so people come to me and people kind of give them this false information out there that just start a nonprofit, then you just write a grant, all this money just start coming in, right? I'm like, it's not that easy. I'm like, we have our own nonprofit and we do a lot of stuff, but we fund it with our own money. I always tell people, if you're trying to launch a nonprofit, right, primarily because you also want to benefit from it financially, then you're in the wrong type of business. It's better you focus that attention and resources to start a for-profit business. Then from your for-profit business, you can channel some of your profit into your non-profit, right? Then if you're good at it and other people see you doing your stuff already, it's easier for corporate sponsors or whatever to support your nonprofit. But if you're just starting out and say, I'm going to start a nonprofit, I'm going to start reaching out to people for grants and stuff, and somehow it's going to be able to do that, and I'll pay myself, that's the wrong way to do it. Even very wealthy people, they have their own foundation and nonprofits, right? They don't rely 100% on other sponsors. They use their own. So I think that was interesting when you said that.
Yeah, especially when you're first starting out, right? Because you have nothing to prove. You haven't developed a proof of concept to show, funders and grant providers that this is what we've been able to accomplish and this is why you should fund it. So yes, now, do I like having to fund my own? Not necessarily, but the cause is more important, right? So our entire platform is really essentially about not waiting for people to create a space for us, but creating our own, right? So not waiting for anybody to give my sisters the money. I'm going to give them the money, right? So whether we get the corporate sponsors or not, we're giving these grants because my sisters need it. So we work hard at building those relationships, but they take time. We have been successful in getting a few. We always could use more if anybody wants to sponsor us. But yeah, so in many ways, it works together because you can't sit around and wait for a handout. Nobody's coming to save you.
Wow. So what kind of grants do you typically give to people?
So for all of
qualifications.
So right now, all of our grants are awarded through pitch competitions.
Okay.
Yes. So that is a premise that we have been working on because we want sisters to strengthen that muscle and that skill of pitching their business for not just our grants, but from other, funders and organizations. It's a stream of revenue. It's a way to fund and source your business. So all of our grants right now are provided through pitch competition. So our pitch competition, a pitch competition is when you apply to compete, and to pitch your business, basically to tell your story, to sell your brand, and to let investors or, grantors know why they should give you money. Most people, who are not familiar with pitch competitions might be familiar with the Shark Tank, similar concept, right? But depending on what it is, it's not necessarily investors who are taking a piece of your business. Our grants are all just grants. So not investments,
so equity or
no equity, no loans, no capital.
And they don't have to pay back.
You don't have to pay it back. That's right. That's right. Big difference. So right now we will branch out into other forms of grants as we get more funding. But right now, all of our grants are through pitch competitions. So we host pitch competitions primarily. Well, they had been virtual because of COVID. But those were amazing. They were amazing.
Even the virtual.
Oh God, yes. You can still watch them on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Because when the first one was scheduled for 2020 and we couldn't have it, but I refused to cancel. So we moved it to a live stream, which was great because people could support their family members or their friends from all over the country, all over the world, essentially. So we did the first two virtually. This past year in 2022 was the first time we held it in person. So it was both in person and live stream. And that was great too. And so we'll be continuing continuing to do it that way. But yeah, so we host pitch competitions. People apply, they submit a video, an application video. Our team reviews them, selects the finalists, and then they come and they pitch live. And our grant, we've given away over the last 2 years, probably close to $40,000 in grants.
Wow, that is amazing. So have you seen some success stories from some of the people who you've helped?
Yes, actually. So our 2021 winner, Barlow's Foods, shout out to Barlow's Foods. Tiffany is the founder and CEO of that brand, and they're a food brand. She has pancake mix and batter and things like that. And she this past year was on QVC.
Wow.
And sold out on QVC.
That is a big deal.
It is.
It's not an accident. That is
not at all.
It's a momentous.
Yes, and she was amazing.
Occasion.
And when we had the pitch competition in 2022, this past year, she and I did a live and kind of just talked about her year over time since she won first place the previous year. And she just talked about how it opened up so many doors for her and just made her more comfortable in terms of speaking about her business and pitching and things like that. So that's just one example of a success story. But yeah, we're really proud of the work that we do.
That is amazing. So, New Rich Nation, this woman of God right here is helping people launch businesses by pretty much giving free money, right, through grants. But for you to get it, you have to pitch, right, and come to our event so you can get that. So, what kind of businesses do you typically grant to? Is it, because sometimes different people have different niches, you know. Is it like anybody, any kind of business, or you have? Is it more like hands-on type of products, online business, e-commerce? Do you discriminate what kind of business?
Is it discrimination or is it selective?
Exactly.
So I'll say this: the only way we discriminate is that you have to be a woman of color.
Boom.
So other than that, you can't apply. But Dr. Faith can. Dr. Faith can, but you can't.
Friends? or
no.
my guy friends.
No.
Okay. What about men?
Y'all can come. There are other parts of our brand that we allow you to participate in, which is the expo.
So my friends, they can.
He can be a vendor at the expo. That's it. But so for our store, you must be a woman of color. Our e-commerce site and our grants, you have to be a woman of color.
This is necessary. This is necessary. I know y'all feel bad, but it's okay, man, because when you look at the statistics as far as funding for business, most of the time, POCs, people of color, usually do not get a lot of backing as far as venture capitalists, whether even grants. Yeah. Then it goes even lower when you start talking about male, female. So statistically, this is a really awesome opportunity for women of color who typically do not get that much as far as funding goes, so that they can really grow and develop and blow up their business. Because a lot of times it's just funding. Like when we first started business, we did it out of necessity. Yeah, we was broke. We had nothing. Okay. So it just made sense to start a business and solve people's problems and be compensated for that. Well, every business, you're bootstrapping. So every profit, every dollar is going right back into the business, other than to eat, but it's going back into the business. So then that also means that you're 100% reliant upon what's coming in, and you're 100% focused on what you're doing for your clients so that you can have that money, so you can turn around, you can do it again, but you get stuck in a cycle. Yeah. And it doesn't give you the opportunity to work on your pitching skills. It doesn't give you the opportunity to go before other people or find out about the grants and find out about the funding that's available. And then if you do, or if you actually can, the stats are so low. It's like, child, I'm just going to keep on working on it. Let me just do it this way, because at least I know how this way works. So this is a really great opportunity. Where did this come from?
So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Break it down.
So women of color are the largest and fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the country.
Look at that.
But we are also the least funded.
Wow.
So that's where this came from. In 2017, American Express put out this big article announcing this, right? That women of color were the largest and fastest demographic of entrepreneurs in the country. So everybody was blogging about it, writing about it, reposting it, talking about it, right? And it was like, okay, that's nice. But then when you dug a little deeper and, more information and stats started coming out, it was like, oh, well, you're the largest and fastest growing, but we're also the least funded, least supported, least earning, least likely to scale, right? And so I'm like, that's not cool, right? Like something is wrong there. What is the issue and how can we help to solve it? So that is how this brand came to be, and did the research in 2017, and it was in 2018 when we launched. I've always been a champion for women of color entrepreneurs. Like I've always been able to see businesses in people and pull it out of them. And I think it comes from my background as a career consultant, right? Like just being able to want people to do more, do better, push them further, and not sit on their talents or their skills. And so that's how it came to be. And that's why we are selective, because, I love my brothers and I want them to see them win too. Wow. Right. And if somebody starts a brothers in business, I'll be there. Right. People have asked me all the time. I'm like, no, that's not what God told me to do. But if you start it, I'll support. So that's really why we are so specific on focusing on women of color.
Wow. That is so amazing. So are you able to share how much you guys typically give in grants per your event? Is it just one person or is it multiple people? Or
so we do a top 3. We usually have 5 finalists, the top 3. So first place, for the last 2 years, first place has been $10,000.
That's amazing.
And then 5 and $2,500.
Man, $10,000 grant.
That's 5 figures. Okay.
Exactly.
So I want to
that can scale a business.
Yeah.
And it's a drop in the bucket. I mean, we're just getting started. I want to 10x
She's
that.
just getting started. So, if you're somebody right there, you have a passion to see women of color to excel in business, you need to tap in with Aisha so you can support her and, so she can help more women of color. Because what she's doing is really, really noble. I didn't even know that you gave up to $10,000 in grants. That is amazing, So can you tell people how they can get into this grant, this pitching competition, and how does that work? Where do they go to? What's the process like? Yeah, so
there's an application period. One thing about our brand is that we are accessible, right? Okay. We do not believe in making things complicated. People don't have to know somebody to get in or get the information. Like it's open, it's accessible. So when the grant period opens, there's an application process. You complete the application before the deadline, and it's really simple.
So where would they apply?
So where? On our website. So the best thing to do is to join our mailing list, right? And you go to our website, which is sibexpo.us for Sisters in Business. So sibexpo.us. You go to our website and you join the mailing list. That way you won't miss out on any announcements, because the pitches and the the grants, it's just one thing that we do. We do so many things, right? And so even if they're not interested in that, they might want to be a vendor with us, right? They might want to join our university membership so that they can learn and grow their business with the tools and skills that they need, right? They might want to have their products in the store or be a weekend vendor at the store. So there's so many ways to participate. They might want to be a volunteer. They might want to be an ambassador. They might want to be a speaker. There are so many ways to participate. So we always suggest that you start with the mailing list, get on the mailing list, subscribe, and make sure you check your emails so that you get all the updates. Because, you can't rely on the algorithm. You'll miss something. Right. But still follow us on social. But the most important thing is to get on the mailing list. So when the application's open, you'll know about it. You can apply. When vendor spots open, you'll know. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I just found out about it. We're sold out. I'm sorry. Like all of our vendor spaces sell out. Our store has a waiting list with hundreds of people. Wow. So we just encourage you to join the mailing list.
Wow, that is so amazing. So, all right. So I want to kind of piggyback a little bit, because I think at one point I saw you online. There was a show that you also pitched onto, and according to the show, you got $100,000. I was excited for you, and I was inspired by that. So I also applied for the same show as well.
Oh, you didn't tell me.
I did. Yeah, I did. And I flew to California.
You didn't tell me.
Oh,
you didn't call me.
I didn't know.
I we should have talked.
Yeah. So I flew to California. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
Yeah, I flew to California.
That's where we met Rachel.
That's where we met Rachel Ingham. Yeah, shout out to Rachel Ingham. Yeah, so the only good thing that came out of that show, let me just preface that I met one or two good friends from there.
Yes.
So I flew to California. It was like a 2-day stay. It was like a warehouse, and it was an elevator show, something, whatever. So, but before I share my story, so I was happy. I'm like, she got $100,000.
You should have told me you was going there because I would have told you to save your money. Now, I will say, of course, overall, the experience was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. You know, I try to look at the positive and everything. Obviously, there was something for me to learn and grow. You know, that was really my first time doing a professional pitch, you know, right? And so I prepared, like I hired a coach. I got, and that's why I won, right? Like I was ready.
Yes. Yes.
And just because God's favor, right? So it was a good experience. Without saying too much about the show, I never got any money. Let's just put it that way. And it was actually supposed to be $250,000.
Okay, I think it was 100,000.
No, I asked for 100. And remember, they doubled it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
If you go back and watch the episode at the end.
Yes, because they were really excited about what you were doing, and they recognized that you were serving an underserved market.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
So
let me call it.
So a lot of times what you see is not what it is. You know what I mean? And people, you know, but it was a good experience. And one thing about me is I never ask my audience to do anything I won't do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tell sisters that they should be pitching, it's because I've done it. When I tell sisters they should be taking courses and investing in their education as a business owner, it's because I still do it. You know, when I tell them they should vend because vending still works, I still vend to this day, right? We will pack up our bins and head to an event and sell and push our product, as we say. So, you know, I did it. It was a great experience. I still pitch whenever I can. But yes, that was what happened.
So everybody was, I mean, a lot of people were happy for you because in the show you supposedly got the money.
Tell me about it.
And just interesting too, because I didn't even know about this. Yeah, because you know, my part did not air for whatever reason, but I understand they can't air everybody. You know, but there were a couple of people too that we met over there that supposedly got funded as well. And till today,
they told you that?
Yeah, because we spoke afterwards, you know, because like, hey, got excited and you got funding. The months after, they're like, they're not even taking their course. They never, you know what I'm saying? They don't even.
Oh, so they were supposed to get funded.
Exactly. In the show, they got funded.
Oh, exactly.
Got funded, yeah.
Exactly.
But after the show, no call, no show. And call, and she said she just got.
I don't even know if that's. I don't even know how they lasted that many years.
Yeah, I
hustling
don't even know
people.
They still do it.
They should not be.
Yeah. So it just seemed like some of the people who were supposedly successful entrepreneurs that were there as the shacks or the the mentors there. They just didn't really have the money to give out, or didn't want to give out, but just doing it for clout to act like they were funding businesses.
Okay.
And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna give you 100,000," but then when the show is over, you don't want to hear from them no more.
Wow.
So just the show, not actually like giving people. So that was quite interesting.
You should have told me. I would have told you. Don't waste your time. But anyway,
you're not saying anything, but your face is tall.
Well, we've already said it. Essentially, you know, it's a scam. It's a hoax. You know, like
just
and
it's insane.
and I mean, like I said, some good came out of it because I got a lot of good exposure and I got a lot of good feedback. You know, so there was some other benefits, but don't tell people you're going to do something and not do it.
Yeah.
So
at least. Your pitching event is not like that. You don't promise people that you're going to give them money and you don't do it.
First of all,
when you say we're going to give you money, they get the money.
First of all, a Black-owned business would never get away with that. They would never get away with that.
Good point.
We can't even, be 5 minutes late without somebody blasting you on social media or, give somebody 2 cents less change. That's like, you cannot do anything wrong as a Black-owned business. They, meaning people, have no hesitation in calling you out. So that's why I said I cannot believe that this show was able to go on as long as it did. Mm-hmm. But I do know why, because it wasn't us. So yes, we pay people when we say we're going to pay them because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But besides the fact, if we didn't, trust me, you would have heard and we wouldn't still be doing it. Like we just had our third pitch competition. If we didn't pay people, the next people, they were like, don't apply for that.
Listen, you would be on, they have you on TikTok, they have you on the green screen talking about,
hello,
right here.
hello.
I went to her picture.
Yes.
She don't give out, she don't get no checks. If you've had this experience, let me know.
Yes.
We'll create a group on Facebook.
Yes.
Then they'll charge $1 for you to come in.
All the things. They would have us on the shade room. Everything.
Hollywood Unlocked.
All of it.
Jason, tell them.
Listen, so, we give a lot of grace to other organizations and other demographics, but, don't give any grace to Black-owned businesses. But thankfully,
unfortunate.
It is. Yeah. But thankfully, we have been blessed to be able to pay all of that
too. Like you had that, and this is not like against your character or as if you wouldn't have done it this way if that was your experience. But you said, this is something that happened to me. I would never.
Yeah, I would never do it anyway.
I will not perpetuate something.
Who does that? Like, who raised you? You know what I mean? It's bad.
Or at least send an email, something in the mail, a letter that says, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. We thank you for your participation. Leverage the show as much as you possibly. There's ways that you can do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't done.
No, it wasn't. Okay. Well, thank God you recovered.
Right. Let's move on to something more positive.
Yeah.
I did not know you did that. You got to tell me these things.
Yeah. And thank God you didn't have.
He went like he said.
Yes.
We met some good people.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I would have helped with his expectation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would have just shared my experience. Like this may or may not happen.
Right.
But I'm just letting you know.
So that you can
Yes.
Now here's the thing about that though. Okay, moving on. Like let's shift it a little bit here because I love what you said that you got a coach. I think so often we are cutting corners. We're taking shortcuts. And there's no such thing as a shortcut. The shortest way is the long way. Like you just go the straight road. I tell this one that, don't be trying to cut. No, just go straight because that's the way to get there. Going off the side roads don't work. It takes longer. But you got a coach which prepared you. And yes, the favor of God is there. But also too, the favor comes with that preparation.
Absolutely. You have to do the work.
Can we talk about doing the work? Because I think that's also the mentality that you have in the university that you have.
Yes, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts to success, especially as an entrepreneur. Because you ain't got nobody to help you get where you're going. Like, okay, if you work with in corporate, let's just say, God forbid, you slept your way to the top. As an entrepreneur, who you sleeping with yourself, right? I always laugh to my family and be like, oh, I wish I could call out today. Or I'll just be like, oh, I'm so tired. My sister be like, call out. I'm like, who am I call? Myself?
Yeah.
Like it's you. Like you have to do the work. There's no way around it. Now, yes, you can work smarter and not harder, right? You don't necessarily have to make some of the same mistakes that others have made. That's why it's important that you are connected with groups and communities, that can support and encourage you, like your mastermind, like our, inner circle membership, so that you don't have to figure everything out on your own, but you still got to do the work.
You got to do the work.
This is amazing, guys. If you're liking this episode and you're enjoying it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this episode. And this episode is brought to you for free from Vonza.com, the #1 platform for creators and entrepreneurs to simplify their online business so they can focus on what they love to do and make more money and serve their clients. So we're going to go to another part of the interview now, okay? So as a successful entrepreneur, if somebody's watching right now, they're like, okay, she got this businesses and she's doing well. What are some tips you can share with our New Rich Nation that can help them in entrepreneurship? What are some tips that have helped you that you can share with somebody else that will help them in their journey in entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So first of all, you have to realize you can't do everything.
Okay.
Right? Like when you first start out, you have to do most of the things, but you can't do everything if you want to grow. Now, if you want to stay, kind of as a side hustle or, a small micro business, then possibly. But if you have any intention of growing, scaling, increasing your revenue, growing your brand, then you need help. You need help, and you have to take the reins off. You have to let go. You have to be able to delegate and trust other people to operate, in their area of expertise. That, unfortunately, as women of color and as people of color, is not something that we embrace early on enough. Like other demographics, they know they got a whole team from the beginning. Right. Ain't nobody getting paid, but they buy into the vision and they work on it because they know they can't do it all. We, unfortunately, is like, I got to grow this all by myself, make a whole lot of money, and then maybe I can bring somebody else in, right? And we need to change that as people of color. So yeah, you can't do everything by yourself. You got to have tough skin. If you are easily offended or, will quit at the first no, then don't even start, because you're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get disappointed a lot. It's going to be an uphill battle. So you got to have tough skin. And for me, you got to have a power greater than you that you're relying on. For us, it's God, faith, prayer, all of those things. But you have to be able to pull on another source because it will drain you. And you got to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody's business.
I think that's so interesting that you say that, because I feel like the new wave. So at one point, so let's say pre-COVID, the thought process and the way everyone behaved was hustle, 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 grind, grind, grind. Like that was, and I think that culture is still there, but now it's almost like people have, after the brakes being pumped on everybody in 2020, people are starting to pull back a bit and have a more holistic approach and grow, working smarter, not harder, and letting go of that hustle culture. Do you feel like do you feel like you're seeing that as well?
To a degree.
How is it working for you, though? Like, how are you implementing it?
I still got to work hard. COVID or no COVID, because I got people to pay, right? And actually, I didn't have people I had contractors pre-COVID, but now I have W-2 staff that got to be paid every 2 weeks and pay taxes on them and all that stuff. So I don't have time to relax, in the big scene. Of course, I take time away or whatever. That's why I asked if you were in Vegas last weekend, because I was there and it was all the people there for the volleyball. So anyway, there's definitely been a shift. I think just in terms of people's approach to employment, right? Like, people are not putting up with a whole lot anymore. They're not really necessarily as interested in working for others. They definitely would like to work from home. Most people, not everyone, when they can, because we just got so accustomed to being able to do that, because of COVID. And so those things have affected how I manage and hire, and recruit, because I know that the culture is different. Right. Yeah. So people who were used to working at home, or if that's what they're looking for, I can't necessarily expect them to come in, and work in our retail store 9 to 5 or whatever. So our staff is all over the country, in different cities, because they can be remote, on the brand side, and then just also thinking about what people need to be satisfied as an employee, right? Like they need that flexibility. They don't necessarily want to be tied to a computer for 8 hours a day. And so that's okay, right? As long as you get the work done, right? That works in our culture. It might not work for everyone, but that works for us. So the changes have impacted how we, look at employing people. But me personally, I still gotta work. I don't know. All these people who ain't working, I don't know how they paying their bills. Because if I gotta work, I gotta work.
Wow, that's so amazing to see how everything have shifted and
it's
stuff.
Really shifted.
And entrepreneurship too, that's what a lot of people too don't share so much on social media. Everybody wants a soft life and see what people are saying. But
listen, we know how to come up with some stuff, don't we?
Yeah, it comes with the hard work, Entrepreneurs are the most hardest working people you ever meet.
Absolutely. Right.
And,
and how can you have soft life if you're not working?
Exactly, So a lot of people just want what they see on social media. So not everything you say is true. Because a lot of people show 5 minutes of being a yard, but they didn't show the 80 hours of working non-stop.
Yes,
but they literally the 5 minutes of being a yacht, and people want that, not knowing what goes on to build it,
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk again too about your this. I think we're gonna I want us to really kind of push around this, your events and the grant thing you do and stuff, So the pitching event, which you give grants, happen in your expo.
Yes.
Right, which is a 2 days live event, and you have one coming up in Atlanta soon. Okay, but before you talk about that event, I also want people to go and sign up and register. So one of the ones we came to in the past, you always like to bring celebrity people there. So I want you to also kind of share with our audience too. What's the plug? How do you get celebrities to come to speak at your event? Because I want to make sure bring a guest, want to drain them of as much knowledge as possible, so our audience can benefit from it.
New Rich Nation, level up.
So I'll tell you this.
What's the play? How you get these people?
I'll tell you this in full transparency. We never intended to be a celebrity event. We still are not a celebrity event. Okay. Even though they are there, that is not the essence of who we are, right? Because even the celebrities that have come are women of color who are entrepreneurs and who can speak to our audience, right? So it's just not like any celebrity. Like you still have to meet that criteria. We kind of fell into the celebrity presence at our very first expo, the very, very first one. I reached out to one individual who was not necessarily a celebrity to be a speaker, and they were closely connected to a celebrity. Okay. And so they were like, well, I could come, but do you want her to come too? Oh. And I was like, sure. So that is how we got known as the event that has celebrities, because from there, it was like, well, dang, now we got to have a celebrity, at every event. And it kind of just happened. But we're actually changing that. So you will likely, yes, really, you will likely not see a celebrity. A quote unquote celebrity this year. You will see a business celebrity, right? An entrepreneurial who in our eyes is a celebrity, because they are extremely knowledgeable. They've built a lot of wealth and, can talk to our audience, but it's not a promise. Let's just say that, because we don't ever want to be known as a celebrity event. We've been blessed, I will say, to have some wonderful women come and share with us who happen to be celebrities, but are also very successful entrepreneurs. And so we don't take that for granted. They have been a huge blessing to our audience. Many of them have traveled the country with us, have come year after year. And so we're grateful for that. And I think it helped to just build our brand, but it's not who we are. In terms of how we got them, beyond that, what I will say is that we've always had a consistent brand message, right? So I always want to know that when I'm going to someone to ask for something, when they look me up, it's no question in their mind. Like, oh, this is tight. Oh, this looks good, right? Like their branding is good. They've got the videos. They've got, the evidence that this is worth my time. And whether that's a celebrity or a corporate sponsor, I want that same reaction. So we've been very intentional about creating a crystal clear brand that people, when they see it, they can identify it, they trust it, and feel comfortable being a part of our space.
Wow.
I love that.
Because you can't invite people to rinky-dink stuff.
Yeah.
No, you cannot. You cannot. And I think, wow, that's interesting. I never would have thought that you guys would extract that part of the expo out, because I felt, this is just me, that was part of, you have many things that you use for the allure to bring people in and get them to come in. Yeah. So celebrities kind of one of those.
And sometimes they don't usually put people in though. Have they really put people in for yours?
Well, it did.
Point.
Sometimes we have some events with some big names, but people
they don't.
To a degree, it depends on who you're trying to bring in. Okay. Right. You know what I mean? Because even though they have been women who are also entrepreneurs and successful at that, and that's what we bring them to talk about, there are some people who only want to come because they're a celebrity. And that's not the audience that we want anyway. Right. So you have to be clear about who your avatar is, who your target demographic is, what is the type of customer or person that you want at your event, right? And then think about it that way. So like I said, I'm not saying there'll never be another celebrity, but it's definitely, and we've never promised them. It just became something that people were expecting. And so I'm just saying publicly that you may or may not see one at our event, because I don't want to ever feel restricted or like obligated is the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Like if I don't have a celebrity, because their presence does not diminish our experiences.
That's right.
Right. We've had events where the celebrity didn't show up. Right. did we still have a dope expo? Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Was it a whole, issue to try and communicate with our audience? Yes, but we still made it happen. So I want people to understand that Sisters in Business Expo is about sisters in business, right? And so anybody that I bring to you is because I believe that they represent the brand. They're the epitome of what we're trying to become, and they will be able to help our audience grow. And so it may or may not be a celebrity.
Wow.
That is so amazing. So,
It is.
so look at that camera there as we start rounding off. So what is talk to maybe a sister of color right there that maybe, is out there. Maybe she lost a job or she lost a dream and she's thinking about what next to do with her life, or she's trying to navigate this journey of entrepreneurship. What would you tell her?
So first of all, I'd tell her that she's enough. You are enough. And that whatever you have in you, God can use it to make something great. Begin with prayer, right? Especially if you're in a tough time or a tough situation and not really sure what path to take or what to do next. Pray about it. Ask God for guidance. Ask God for provision. But then you got to make a move, right? Like just try something. Take a first step. If it doesn't work, guess what? That's okay. You'll still be all right because God's got you. So a lot of times people wonder what could have happened. What if maybe I should have, maybe I could have, but you'll never know if you don't actually do it. So I always tell people, just start. Start the business, start the podcast, start the blog, right? Start the clothing line, whatever it is that you are thinking about doing, just start. Trust God in the process and see what happens. And if it does not work out, it is okay because you are still enough.
Wow, that is so dope. Just start, right? Doesn't matter if you're writing a book, a podcast, create an online course, a membership program, digital product, or an event. So whatever it is you do, the key is to starting. Because if you never start, you will never get to where you're trying to get to. So only starters become finishers, right? Which is so dope. What other questions you might have for Aisha?
What's next? Because you are a visionaire extraordinaire. I feel like my husband is the king of vision. So I'm like, okay, they must be related some way in the spirit because she got vision. What is next?
So we're introducing a lot of new parts to the brand. So the newest launch is our Sisters in Business University Inner Circle membership, right? For so long, we've offered courses kind of just as a one-off, right? A course here, a course there. Sometimes we'll do a series over a couple of months or a couple of weeks or whatever. But we always have gotten this question, how can I join? How can I be a member? And I was like, join what? Like we didn't have anything for people to join. And we've built this great community of sisters who are part of our network, but didn't really have a space for them to really hone in on what they need and lean on each other for support and knowledge. So we have launched the Sisters in Business University Inner Circle. That is where you will get access to courses, coaching, and community, right? To help you grow, or scale your business. So that is where we're focused on right now, just in terms of growing that piece. We'll also be introducing a subscription model for our retail and e-commerce side. Okay. So we didn't talk much about it, but the Sister Shop, y'all got to come to the Sister Shop.
Yeah.
The Sister Shop is our retail and e-commerce division where we have 2 locations and we have an e-commerce site. So the one in New Jersey is at the Mills at Jersey Gardens in Elizabeth, the largest mall in that area. And then the one here is in Atlanta at Atlantic Station, right across from Publix. And so we call them a sanctuary for sisterhood. Right? Yeah. Where it's just, you gotta come.
Men can shop there. Right?
Oh, yes. Men can shop there. The products are by women, but we have something for everyone, literally. So men, children, everything you can imagine. Clothing, accessories, skincare, hair care, home goods, decor, arts, crafts, books, everything. It is a one-stop shop for all things by Black women. So we're growing out that piece as well by, enhancing our e-commerce side. We already have it, but we're just enhancing it some. But then also we're going to be introducing a subscription model where you can subscribe and get a Sister Shop box every other month with all Black women-owned products.
Oh, love
yes.
that.
And then the last thing that's next is the Sisters in Business podcast.
Wow. That is amazing.
And one of the podcast people who will be there will be your favorite.
You can bet that. Yes.
I love that. That's going to be so exciting.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm coming down to Atlantic Station.
When you come back.
Yes, I'll be traveling.
Tomorrow.
So
get back, we'll go together.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so we're going to make a family
You'll love
trip.
it. Yes, the kids will love it too.
That's so awesome. New Rich Nation, I told you you are in for a treat. So please connect with Aisha, and also to also thank you. You're also Vonzonite.
Yes.
For your courses and
Yes.
memberships. We appreciate that as well. And and she's just a dope person. So can you tell the people one more time where they can find you on whether it's social media or websites or where they can connect with you?
Yeah, sure. So our main website is sibexpo.us, which stands for Sisters in Business. So SIB as in boy, expo.us. For our store and retail side, it's thesistershop.com, and it's always SISTAH, thesistershop.com. Also, you can follow us on all social media platforms at SIB Expo. And we are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of that. And then also my personal page is SIB Founder. So you can connect with us on all those platforms.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Anything else you want to leave with the people before you go? Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, just keep tuning in. This is an amazing podcast. Thank you so much to the doctors for just taking the time to support entrepreneurs so much. I love them. They're such a beautiful representation of Black excellence. And, just keep doing the work. When you do, I grew up with this motto that was instilled to us by our pastor, which is when you do the right thing, God will bless you. You're always going to be tempted to do other things that are not right. But if you just do what's right, God will bless you.
Awesome. If you do what's right, God will bless you. And I think what's right now is for you to like, comment,
yes,
and
I love it.
to this show because you were blessed. So that's the right thing to do.
True.
So we need your support to continue to grow this channel. And until next time, see you next time, New Rich Nation.
Bye, New Rich Nation, and share this with a sister.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.